When you're using the flag attachment with the Jawjacker, basically it turns your Jawjacker into a tip-up. And you might say, well, why would you want to do that? You know, if you're using small little artificial bait with a mealworm, then the Jawjacker is the way to go. You know, you want to set the hook as soon as that fish bites, because he's going to spit it if you don't. Well, sometimes when you're using larger live baits, or baits where a fish is going to grab them and run with them, sometimes you want to give them a little extra time to run with that bait to get it all the way in its mouth. So now you can do that. You know, standard tip-up allows you to do that, but the flag attachment with the Jawjacker allows you to do that as well. But it gives you a couple of advantages. One of those is using a rod and reel. You can use that to set the hook and fight the fish with. And also it gives you the Jawjacker's trigger mechanism. So if you're using larger live baits and they're down there pulling and tugging, you can just increase your trigger tension with the wing nut here so that that's not going to give you a false flag. You know, regular tip-ups, you get false flags all the time. Flag up, you're all excited, you go up there, and it's just the bait that's tripped it, or it's the wind that's tripped it. With the flag mechanism and the Jawjacker, you're not going to have those issues anymore. Okay, so here's the flag attachment. It's just basically a spring. I've got a fiberglass rod, a little flag that kind of swivels. This is basically an O-ring. And then you've got a line stopper, and then if you're using a spinning reel, this is a line catch to keep your line tight, and I'll show you that. But anyway, this the end of this just slides right onto the trigger slide. There's a hole on the trigger slide. I think it's right between the number 1 and number 2 holes. It's been there, you know, ever since I made the first Jawjacker. So I've had this design for a long time, just haven't come out with it. But we're coming out with it now because it works. Just take this spring and you just stick it in that hole and you just turn it until it stops, and that's it. That's how you attach this little flag device to the Jawjacker. And I've got a spinning rod and reel here, and I put some tip-up line on, some heavy tip-up line, just black, so that you can see it. If it's regular monofilament, it's hard to see, so I put this on just for the video. Normally I'd be using some clear monofilament. So let me show you what I'm using real quick. I've had this down in the water, been using this trying to get a fish with it. So if you look at what we're using here, I've just got a little treble hook and about a 3.5 inch minnow. And this is P-line fluorocarbon leader. This is 20-pound test, just a split shot with a swivel. And the fish are eating it. We've caught pike on this, we've caught walleye. I'm just going to get my line down. And I've already got my Jawjacker folded out. We just put that flag on. So the way I've got this set up, I've got this trigger slide slid out pretty far. That's just so this flag is kind of further out away from your line. So right now I've got the rod holder on the number 2 hole, and I like the number 1 or number 2 sometimes when it's on that 3rd hole. Then when you go to take your line and put it on the line hook, sometimes the angle's not right. But I've got this line down on the bottom, and I've got about this much leader, so I'm going to reel up. That way my sinker's up off the bottom. That's about where the minnow is. Now the minnow's about on the bottom. I'm going to bring it up another, well, probably 6 inches. And then I'm going to set this thing. I want to show you a close-up view of how to set this flag. And the flag kind of swivels inside the spring that's attached to your trigger slide, and there's a line stopper, and you want that pointing towards the trigger. There's an O-ring on the end, and you want that pointing towards the trigger as well. You want the O-ring and the line stopper pointing in the same direction. The flag I like coming off this direction, and the hook here, the line hook, is pointing in the opposite direction of this stopper here. And this will swivel inside, it kind of moves up and down. That's just so it's easier to set. It rotates. But to set this thing, I'm going to grab the line. I'm going to kind of take the end of this flag here, I'm going to kind of pull it up so it gives me a little extra length. I'm going to put that line underneath the stopper. I'm going to push that flag down, and once this is down and the line's compressed between the stopper and the trigger slide, you can just kind of let that go. But you got to make sure to hold it down, and then I'm going to take that hook, that line hook, or the loop hook, and I'm going to catch that O-ring and I'm going to rotate it forward just like setting the Jawjacker. And that's it. Next I'm going to take my line, and I'm going to put it in that U-shaped groove in the end of the trigger, and it's set. Now I'm using a spinning reel, and when you're using a spinning reel you want to use this hook. If you're using like a bait caster, you just want to basically press your button so that your spool on your bait caster can free spool and free spool line out. But if you're using a bait caster, make sure to increase your tension, you know, on your spool so you don't get a backlash. But with this spinning reel, I'm just going to pull some line off against the drag, and I'm going to put that line right around that line hook there. Now it's set and ready to go. Everything is tensioned, so by tensioning the line here, if this was just allowed to be, you know, you flip the bail back so it can free spool, if you get wind coming up, that can blow line off of your reel and make a tangled mess. And you don't want that. And also sometimes when you flip the bail back and you're using like a stiffer monofilament, line can just kind of fly off your reel anyway, you know, if you don't have it held. So we're trying to prevent that, so that's what this loop hook does. It prevents line from just flying off here with the wind or just on its own monofilament and getting tangled up. But now this is set, so a fish coming along, he's just gonna pull down and he's gonna start taking line there down the hole, and that's it. And you can come up, grab your rod, flip your bail over, and set the hook. If you notice when this popped up, it makes a pretty good noise. You can hear it. Also, if you had a bell of some sort, that would work too on this. You know, you get a little bit of a ring to help notify you, you know, that they got a bite basically. I want to show you a bait caster rod that I just set up, and with the bait caster you don't need to use the line hook like you do with a spinning rod. With this you want them to hit the line and you want them to take the line out, so I'm just going to flick the bail so they can hit and trip the flag and then run. And you want to take your anti-reverse, you know, your anti-backlash, and kind of turn that up a little bit, just so if you get a big one on and it really rips line off, it's not going to backlash on you. And I've already done that with this one. So that's it. It's set up and ready to go. So I'm packing things up, and I've got my Jawjacker folded up. And if I wanted to, I can just take this flag and I can take it off, or I can just leave it on. But another thing you can do is just turn it sideways and basically just set it, you know. Just set it and it'll hold that flag down, and you can increase your wing nut tension here so that if something bumps it, it's not going to set off. And that way it still stays pretty compact, you know, when you put it away.
Right there, Matt. You don't have one off.
Let's see, got a bite. Let's see if there's anything here.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there's fish on right there. Fish on. I had my drag kind of loose. I'm gonna bring him up slow.
There he is. There's a pike. Nice.
Oh, pike. Nice. You get them up to the hole and then they take a good run. All right, here we go. Flag attachment again. With that flag attachment, you're basically using the Jawjacker trigger.
He's nice. Big
so
one.
you can increase your trigger tension, decrease your trigger tension. So if you got a big minnow on, and that minnow's not going to trip your flag, you know, like it would on a regular tip-up. And this is the 36-inch Jawjacker rod here, the casting rod, and I've got, I think this is 12-pound P-line CXX. And I've got a 15-pound fluorocarbon leader.
See if Matt can do it.
See if he can do it.
It depends on
Big
how
old
wild
mouth coming
they
up.
come up in the hole.
Yeah. Put your hand right in his mouth. Yeah, just
Oh, that's a good fish, man.
Oh,
Look
is
at
a good
that.
fish.
Wow. There we go.
There you go.
Look at that big butter.
That's a good fish.
Yeah.
That's a 10, what do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. On the flag, Jawjacker flag attachment, live minnow.
We're right in that channel right there, and all of a sudden,
We got a bite, let's see what's on the flag. Yeah, Yep, there he is. He's on. Well, that flag works, huh?
Yeah, that's awesome. I need one of them.
That's cool. Got him in front of the camera too. So.
That's awesome. I heard it snap.
And,
Nice bite, dude.
and he'll get his head up.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
That's a big one.
It's like 11, 12 pounds.
That's a good one.
Oh,
on the
that's
flag.
guys.
Great, nice fish with a Jawjacker flag attachment. 11 pounds, 9 ounces. Live minnow. Little treble hook. Got him. Good fish, 35 inch. Like I got the flag up, let's check it. I think something's on there because you know what, this thing is spooled out all the way. So I can catch up with, there it is, yes! Yes, and this thing was spooled out all the way, so it's gonna be a long ways out there so I can gain on him and get it. This is the 36-inch bait caster rod. It's doing a good job on this fish. I've got 12-pound P-line on here, CXX. This fish is out a long ways. He ran the line all the way out. Just kind of lugging big down there. We'll see what he is. Could be a pike, could be a lake trout, could be a walleye. You never know, but it feels like it's got some pretty good weight to it. I'm gonna check my drag. Make sure it's a little bit lighter. Right here at the hole. Good size, looks like a big thick back laker. Don't want to horse him at the hole, that's when they come off. And there we go, we got him. That's a beast right there. That's a beast. You know what, look where that fish is hooked. He is hooked, split shot, and a treble hook right there, kind of weird on the outside of his head. Isn't that crazy? On the flag attachment. That's crazy. It's kind of wrapped and hooked. But you know what? Got him. That was a good 11 pounds, 12 ounces, 30-incher. 30-inch laker up here at Fort Peck. Got some guys coming up on side besides behind us. Four-wheeler's probably going to be checking it out. Good fish. On the flag.